Yeah, some backpack raps. Turn it up. Hey yo, life's a bitch and then you die, yeah we knew that, but screw that. I'll toast to the future, not where the crew at. It's FTB until I'm 6 feet deep. Yeah, we done started a movement, a leader, never been a sheep. So I don't follow the crowd, I'm trying to make my own lane. Lost a lot in this life, but I still got more to gain. Never take for granted the fans who've been waiting for the day I blow like Nagasaki on everyone, ignoring the name. Verses pour from my mind like that Kentucky bourbon. But I was born in the shy, my mentality's urban. Never was sure about my purpose, but I know one thing's for certain. I came here to fuck up the game till I'm wanted for murder. Gotta be honest though, I know I got talent and I'm driven to make my vision come to fruition. No indecision, achieved a lot in life that some said I wouldn't. So what's the difference when it comes to this rap shit they saying I couldn't? Bound to fail, I ask them why. Cause I'm white in my 30s, I got a family and work a normal fucking job. You must be kidding, man, that fuels the fire. And I'm prepared as I get bigger for haters to put me through the wire. But I won't let it bring me down, I got that tunnel vision. Like a horse in a derby, I'm just focused on winning. Passing up my peers, no wonder why I'm always grinning. But when it comes to my enemies, my trigger finger itching. Don't like the negativity, I'm only moving up. So if you ain't with me on the grind, then how can you say I don't do enough? Soon enough, they all go see I proved enough and rock with it. All from the bottom, there ain't no stopping it. Music's my passion and I made a promise to always crush whatever the fuck was in front of me. So let's be honest, do I? Hell yeah, they know the flow dumb. And one thing's for certain, if you don't chase your dream, it won't come. But you can't ever chase your dream if you don't run. So I'm gunning for the tip top, homie, and then some. Make it a habit of smashing raps in my backpack like snack packs. I got my cat backwards, listening to Mac Miller. Got some Nikes on my feet, running them laps around my peers, but they too proud and cocky to admit defeat. But I ain't taking prisoners, they on my plate. It's time to eat, it's time to show them what I'm about. Cause then they'll want a fucking feature, what a piece. That's cool though, I really can't blame them. They'd rather do a track with your boy, cause they won't be getting nowhere if they hate them. But in the end, I love this hip hop shit. So I'm gone, got a plane to catch. Kick rocks, bitch.
Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting. Welcome everybody to a Sunday edition of HomeFront Sitrep. How is everybody doing? Hopefully everybody had a good weekend and ready for next week. I know I'm on the fence about next week because on Tuesday I'm going to be underneath a knife and getting a total knee replacement. So I'm a little excited for one to be to have a new knee, so I'm not in pain anymore. But I'm also scared because I'm going underneath the knife, which is never a good thing. So, but anyway, as you can see, I'm alone tonight. I do have a special guest we'll be bringing up here shortly. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Miss Candace is up in Indianapolis. She's doing her bachelor party last night, and then she had a family reunion tonight. So she's not able to join. So you got your boy Willis. We're going to be doing this solo with our guest. We're going to be talking with Mr. Brian Romans from Romans Warriors Foundation and also co-owner of Label 22 Records, which we'll get into both of those and figure out what they're doing. I think this is a great organization for what they're doing, driven by passion and fueled with dedication of selfless service to our country, both at home and overseas. Our volunteers across the nation assist our military veterans, Gold and Blue Star families, first responders, and their families with resources from the foundation is what, one of the things that they do at Romans Warrior Foundation. And it says, we are our brothers' keepers. I think it should say brothers and sisters because they focus on both male and female veterans as well. Um, Mr. Brian Roman is a United States Marine, so Semper Fi, do or die. He founded in 2016, a routine ride to work quickly changed his life. He was struck by a 250-pound 10-point buck. Hopefully, he got to eat the buck, but I don't think he did. We'll talk about that. Traveling at 55 mile an hour on his Harley Davidson. The impact killed the deer, destroyed the bike, and launched me 60 feet through the air. So, dude, that's a crazy story. We're going to get into it here in just a few minutes. What's up, Mr. Christopher Elder from Mill 2 Vets? How are you, sir? So yeah, Brian Romans is the founder of Romans Warriors Foundation, and then also co-owner of Label 22 with Stephen Cochran, if I believe is his partner in crime with Label 22. Um, so let's bring up Mr. Brian Romans to the stage. Welcome,
What's
sir.
up?
How are you, sir?
I am well. I am well. Happy to be here. Proud to serve. How are you?
Man, I am doing okay, I guess. Like I said, I am dealing with a little bit of anxiety because I'm having an knee surgery like we talked about just a little bit ago. But I can't be um, I can't be too down because I do have a good life. Of course, 6 years in the Marine Corps, been out since 2004, and got a good wife, got good kids at home. They're straight A students. They're both planning on going in the military when they get out. They're not going to the Marine Corps though. They're going in the military, but not Marines. So yeah, man, I'm doing all right. How are you and the wife and kids?
Oh, we're blessed, man. We're blessed. We're doing better than we deserve. We got the little one, the 5-year-olds running around doing trick or treats all over town. Our middle teenager is doing our youngest teenager is doing football, first year ever, and he is just slaying it, man. Turning me into a football dad, and my wife into a football mom. It's truly awesome to be able to see him out there playing and taking hits and getting touchdowns. That's what it's all about.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So do me a favor, introduce yourself to the HomeFront Sitrep family.
Well, I am Brian Romans, as I like to say it. I am the Romans Warrior Foundation. What we do is, let me backtrack a second. You said you did 6 years. Appreciate your service. I did 15 years in our gun club. I was forced out against my will, medically retired after 3 combat deployments, and miss it every single day, which I think is my drive to continue to serve, continue to help our brothers, and as you said, our sisters as well, shoulder to shoulder, never above, never below, always beside, rocking it out, helping them out. That's what it is. That's what it's all about, right? Continued selfless service. It's in my blood. It's in your blood. I'm a volunteer firefighter on 3 different fire departments. I'm an assistant chief on a fire department. I do the Romans Warrior Foundation, the Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance, help out with Stop 22 tour, the RWF Warrior Field outdoor kind of piece to what we do with the foundation. And then, like you said, we've got the music label 22 going on. So I've got about, another 20 to 30 minutes in my day that's open for something. So if somebody's got something else they want to throw out there, let me know. We'll help you out. That's what it's about, man. Leaning into the fray, helping our brothers, helping our sisters, and trying to give them a hand up and not a handout.
Yeah, I love that. A hand up, not a handout. That's something that I focused on when I was doing the veteran charity work that I was really heavily involved with. It's always about giving that hand up and not giving a handout, because a lot of times some veterans take advantage of that. And
Yes.
I hate to say that, but they do, because you can give and give and give, but if that person is not reciprocating and taking it to the next level, what's the sense of keep giving and giving? Yeah, we're going to, because it's in our heart to do that, but there's got to be a point in turn where the veterans like, all right, I need to step up and make a change, because if they don't, they're going to fall back into that same rut. So giving a hand up is way better than giving a hand out. And I thank you guys for doing that. So tell us a little bit about Romans Warriors Foundation. Why you started Roman Warriors Foundation?
Well, it's amazing that you led into it with the intro that you did, because today is that anniversary. So today, in 2016 or 2015 rather, this morning, 2015 at 5:45, I was riding to work at Crane, NSWC Crane up in Indiana, and 10-point, 250-pound buck knocked me off a Harley at 55 mile an hour. I went 60 feet. The bike went 70 feet past me, killed the deer, killed the bike, flew me down to Louisville trauma. And after about 2.5 to 3 hours of every test known to mankind, miraculously, I walked down under my own power. I tried going back to work the same day, and I got told I was absolutely crazy for doing it. And, the boss was getting ready to get on a flight to head over to Virginia, and his number 2 was in the Air Force. And he says, "Man, you should be dead. You don't need to be here." I said, "That's where you guys always get it wrong. Marines have to ask permission to die. I didn't ask permission this morning." And they all just kind of looked at me like I was insane, and I'm like, "You guys don't get it." And anywho, they sent me home for 2 weeks. But yeah, man, road rash and a little scar on my wrist was my only injuries from that. So the moment that they said I didn't have any injuries in the trauma ward, I made a choice in my head and in my heart, and my life was not mine to live anymore. I was an instrument. I was a tool. I was a chess piece, if you will, for a higher power to be able to help and continue to move mountains for other people. I made a mission at that point to find my happiness. There was some stuff going on in my life at that time that wasn't the purest in the world. So I made that transition instantly and sought out my happiness and made some moves to where I could actually obtain that happiness. And made that decision to be able to continue being that tool, that positive image, or that positive attempt to be that positive image, to be able to reach out and not necessarily say, "Hey, I did this," but say, "Hey, we did this together because this is what a higher power, higher calling is telling me I need to do for you and yours."
I love it. Yeah. And you were right. Marines, we do have to ask to die. And
Yes.
This day, that many years ago, was a turning point in your life, because the man upstairs said, "Hey, I'm not done with you."
Yes, sir.
And a lot of times we as veterans, sometimes it takes something like that to put us on the right, correct path. And I got a friend who's a Somalia veteran from Black Hawk Down, Operation Gothic Serpent. He tried to commit suicide, and the belt broke. Ratman knows who I'm talking about, and he turned his life around, and now he's out, serving veterans and helping veterans with Warrior Rounds. He's an ambassador for Warrior Rounds, and to hear his story, come back from one of the bloodiest battles in history of the U.S. and lose a child, go through a divorce, go down that rabbit hole of medicating with alcohol, being a total, in his words, total douchebag, to now where he is now, where he's out, telling his story. For one, because if we tell our story, it makes it easier on us. And then it lets our brothers and sisters out there know, hey, I've been in something similar to you. We might not have done it the same, but we've done it differently, but we're still on the same path. And it's kind of like me, I've never, like, I went down that rabbit hole. My first wife, I caught her cheating on me, and I went down that rabbit hole of drinking alcohol, and I mean, literally drinking a fifth of whiskey a night. And Marine Corps said, "Hey, you're an alcoholic," which is friggin' ironic, because they were founded in a bar. But they're like, "Hey, we're going to send you to detox. You're going to go detox for 60 days. Come back. You'll be good to go." And I had a great chain of command. I didn't get docked and paid, didn't lose rank. They took care of me. But that was my wake up call, and after I got out of the Marine Corps in 2004, I started helping veterans. That's
Yeah.
because I lost that sense of purpose, sense of camaraderie, like most veterans do. So mine was, all right, I need to find like-minded veterans that I can be around. Um, yeah, Glenn, you are correct. He said, "Look where you are now. You're doing great, brother. Thank you, sir." And that's, after doing, the VSO route for 20 years, or actually about 19, because I've been in the podcast since 23. Um, Being able to talk to organizations like yourself, being a veteran, and seeing all these other, like Craig Murphy, who is on here right now with his organization up in Washington State, which is a national organization. Getting to meet you people and see what you guys are doing in your neck of the woods,
Yeah.
and how you're helping give back to the veteran community. That's what I look for, because I look for people that are, one, doing it for the right reason, ones that want to work together with other organizations, because the only way that we're going to end that 22 a day is if we work together, not individually. We have to work together. That's the only, if Ratman, let's say Glenn here, was at your organization, right? He's at Romans Warriors Foundation, and he comes up to you and says, "Hey, Brian, I love what you guys are doing, but it's not working for me."
Mhm.
Your job as the founder is, all right, what do you like doing? And then Ratman says, "Oh, I love race cars." You can say, "Oh, I know this guy, Ed McLean. He does Warriors to Racers. Let me get you hooked up with him." And then you give Ed a call and say, "Hey, I got this guy, this veteran that loves race cars. He wants to get involved with your organization." That's what it's all about. That's what's going to
Yeah.
help. That's what's going to help in the 22 a day. What's up, Big Al Hero from Triple Threat Vets podcast? So, Romans Warriors Foundation came about, when was the official nonprofit status date?
Believe it or not, January 22nd, 2016.
Nice, awesome. And
That number,
it means something.
yeah, it's we know that number in the veteran community, and by no design, you can't reach out and say to the IRS, "Hey, I want that number, I want that date." Divine intervention has come across my life since I've been retired from the Marine Corps. You said it. Afghanistan didn't wake me up. The 2 tours in Iraq didn't wake me up. A DUI in 2005 didn't wake me up. It took God throwing a deer at me to say, "Hey, knucklehead, wake the hell up," right? So I'm paying attention to different things since then. January 22nd, 2016, we're officially in 501c3 status from the IRS. We're trying to find land in southern Indiana to build this big veterans retreat on. I feel like I'm failing, and I own some property in Indiana. I call my dad, and he goes, "Aren't you you're a dumbass. Doesn't that number 22 mean something to you guys?" I said, "Well, yeah." He goes, "Don't you have 33 acres? Your house is on 11. What's that leave?" I'm like, "Dad, I love you. I hate you right now, but I love you. Yes, I'm a dumbass. Thanks for waking me up and opening my eyes." So we had that 22 acres of ground that we utilized for our veteran retreats, right? And then an address became available for an office space downtown in a little town of Bloomfield, Indiana, and its address was 22 South Franklin Street.
Oh, man.
So by no design did I go and seek out that number. That number sought me out, and we utilized that to be able to kind of help promote awareness and say, "Hey, look, this is not, we're not saying, hey, look at us. This number is saying, hey, look at what it's impacting, and how can we come together to be able to stop this pandemic." You use the term working together. We use the term locking shields. We'd like to find like-minded organizations to be able to sit down at the table, and if our principles and our morals align, then absolutely, let's lock shields to be able to work together to be able to put a stop to a lot of this. And like you said, I learned a lot as a young non-NCO growing up through the ranks, looking up to my senior staff NCOs, and they didn't know all the answers, but what they did is they had a book, the desktop or turnover folder they could look in and say, "Hey, you know what? I can't do this. I don't know how to do it, but Staff Sergeant so-and-so over here, that's his bailiwick. He knows how to do it." Yep. So you hit the nail on the head with these different organizations having these specialties, and that's what we kind of cultivated a little network of within the Romans Warrior Foundation. And we call it our network, but it's really a network of, like you said, like-minded individuals and organizations working together to be able to reach out to them. You know, we talked to a guy, this hat, well, there it is, this hat, it's called True Patriot Outfitters. We talked to a guy out of a professional bass boat career. He let me put him in a kayak, and now he runs our outdoor program based out of Colorado. You know, so it's getting involved with different organizations just like that and saying, hey, look, we want to make a difference, you know.
Oh, yeah. So Glenn says, what part of Indiana are you in? I'm in English. I'm always willing to help out with veterans in any way I can.
Glenn, we're no longer in Indiana. 3 years ago, I lost my grandmother, and we came home to Alabama for the funeral. And, you know, I joined the Marine Corps at 17 and never looked back. So other than visiting for holidays and a weekend or a week or two on leave, never really came back home except for this funeral. And came for the funeral, was here for about 4 days and went back up north. And I got a phone call from my mother where my father had asked through her if I was ready to come home. I've never had an adult relationship with my father. I've never had that. He doesn't know me as a young man. I didn't know him as an older man, a seasoned man. So it was a no-brainer. We told the kids pack for a month, and we moved back home to North Alabama. And it took us 1.5 years to go back to Indiana and get our stuff and sell our house. We're rooted here in Muscle Shoals, Alabama now, Glenn.
Then there were Leonard Skinner's from. Old Muscle
Similar, yeah. Same recording studios, yeah.
Heck yeah. So so Label 22 is based out of the same recording studio?
No.
Oh, okay.
We don't have that kind of we don't have that kind of lineage. No, we actually have an office space up in the RCA building up in Nashville. We got a Grammy award-winning producer, Eddie Gore, that we work with. And we actually share the same floor as I believe it's Chet Atkins.
Nice.
He's the one that built the studio up, right? So we were fortunate enough to be able to get in the ground floor up there, Studio B with Eddie, and work with him. And then we got a couple other studios in the area. We got a place up in I guess it's called White House, Tennessee. Michael Hamilton's our in-house producer. And then we got Bobby Spivey, formerly with BMI Records, or he might still have BMI Records, but he's got 2 studios, one in Decatur, Alabama, and then one up there in Nashville on Broadway as well. So got a couple different options for people that want to come in and record.
Now, so you're with the Label 22. So there's a lot of different organizations out there that focus on veterans and singers or veteran singers. And then like Hero Stock is another one that puts concerts on around the country. And they highlight veteran singers and family members of veterans. And then you got Operation Song, you got Warrior Rounds. So what makes you different from them as Label 22?
Well, with Label 22, the whole mantra and purpose behind Label 22 is, you know, for about 6 years with the Stop 22 program that Stephen Cochran had founded and we absorbed under our nonprofit umbrella, we had these veteran singer-songwriters that outside of Stephen, they had kind of tiptoed that line of getting a recording contract or doing it independently. And I'm not saying they struggle necessarily, but they kind of nearly plateaued at some point. And with Stephen's guidance, they were looking for something more. And Stephen, behind the black curtain, he would talk to them a lot and kind of mentor them a little bit. And after 6 years of them saying, hey, man, you guys should start a label. You guys should start a label, you know. And Stephen came to me and he's like, hey, man, what do you think about starting a label? I said, bro, the only thing I know about music is I press, you know, on, off on the radio or play on my phone. And that's about as music as I got. Outside of that, he goes, yeah, but you can navigate some of the channels in the nonprofit world. I said, yeah, absolutely. So with Stephen doing the music and me doing the nonprofit side, we kind of came together. You know, we served together in Afghanistan. So we've been together since, 2003, 2004. And it was just a seamless transition. So now what makes us different and gives us the cutting edge is you got Stephen, who's cut his teeth in Nashville. He knows what to do and what not to do. A lot more of what not to do. And he's able to guide these veteran artists, or their lineage has some kind of veteran or first responder within that lineage history, right? And all we're doing is we're mentoring them, and we're coaching them, and we're building a package. Okay. We're not going to be Sony Records. We're not going to be Warner Brothers. We'd like to, but that's not our goal. Our goal is, let's insulate these veterans, let's package them, and let's make sure that Nashville doesn't rape them over the coals to be able to strip them of all the rights to include of their name. I mean, we don't want to own the Masters 20 music. We don't want to own your name. We don't want to own your namesake. We just want to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck. And once we get you charted, then we're going to go knock on the doors with you and your team and say, hey, look, hey, Warner Brothers, hey, Big Machine Records, we've got this individual. This is the history. This is what he's charted at. He or she is charted at. You guys should probably give him a listen. And then at that point, at that transition, we take that packaged individual and we give them over to them. And we're not looking for anything outside of that. If we get a kickback, cool. If we don't, cool. We're fine with that. And that's truly what makes us unique. We have a passion in it. We're not in it for the dollar. We're in it to be able to help the individual.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Sam Deeds, what's going on, brother? I see you out there. You just joined. So like you said earlier, you got your hand in a little bit of everything. You say you basically got about 30 minutes a day to yourself. And I understand that, because idle minds and veterans don't mix. So we always try to keep ourselves busy. And one of the things that you have, and you kind of touched on it a little bit ago, was the Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about that.
So how it came into our lives, so to speak, is the prior caretaker, curator, the designer, the guy that funded the original wall. We commissioned him in 2017 to come to Southern Indiana to set up, because we decided, as a foundation to bring awareness to mental health, it was a great idea to walk 120 miles in the middle of June from Greene County, Indiana, up to Indianapolis. And I don't know what the hell I was thinking, other than trying to make an impact and get people to recognize what our nation's heroes go through. So at the end of that hike, we had this wall set up, and one of my Gold Star mothers, Benjamin Rosales' mother, Maria Rosales, she came with us on this hike. She surprised me, flew in, and came with us on the hike. So when we had the wall set up, she was able to help set her son's panel in place. And then I realized how many Marines and sailors that I actually had on that wall that I had served with in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it made an impact on the owner, J.R. Nichols, of the wall. So he calls about 3-4 months later, and he says, hey, man, what do you think about you taking over the wall? Now, mind you, in the background, my wife is pregnant with a complicated pregnancy. I've got kids I'm trying to homeschool, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'll take it. Hung up the phone, and I'm like, hey, I think I just screwed up. I just obligated for something that's pretty big. She goes, what is it? I said, it's a Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance. For a mental visual, it's our generation's version of the Vietnam Wall, very similar to it. It travels the country from coast to coast. It captures all the names, all the lives of the names lost from April, in the April of '83, the Beirut bombing, the embassy attack, the Beirut bombing, barracks bombings, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, the Twin Towers, the planes, the Pentagon, Iraq, Afghanistan, the special skirmishes in between. And then it captures, we have 2 blank panels that we have on the end of the honor side, where we invite Gold Star families and fellow service members to write the names of their loved ones who took their lives here at home. It's flanked by replicas of the Twin Towers. And on the opposing side is an educational timeline of all the events that took place to shape and define why the names are on the honor side. Truly humbling. It's very emotional. And the wall has this mystique about it, that it will pull you to it. It's not. The best example I can give you, Willis, is we were set up in, oh man, it just escaped me, in Colorado. And we had this retired sergeant major come up, and he's got him, you can see the emotions in his eyes and his face. He's trying to find this troop. And as I'm looking down, he had his back to the wall. As I'm looking down, we have an app finder, and I'm looking for his name. I look up, and he looks over his shoulder, and he snaps and points and runs to the wall.
Mm.
And his troop, he found his troop's name. So he's having his moment. And when we do this, we take a step back and we make sure that the individual that's trying to find the name knows that we're right there. They don't have to go through this. They don't have to rip the Band-Aid off on their own. We're right there with them. And he turns back around. He's got this grin on his face, and he's bawling, and he starts laughing. And I said, well, when you get a moment, let me know. And I'd like to hear the story behind your troop. And he said, I'll tell you right now. He says, as the command sergeant major, it was my job to shake their hand. And I would always shake their hand and tap their shoulder. And I would tell them, I'll see you on the ground. Because I was always the last one on the last stick out, and the last one to get in country. He said, I never got that chance with him. That was the only one out of our unit that I didn't get the chance to see on the ground. And he goes, I don't understand. And I said, okay, there's two things going on here. One, you've carried survivor's guilt with you since his death. And two, I didn't find his name. He found you. He pulled you to him. Probably, if I was a betting man, to tell you in some spiritual way, stop carrying this around with you. He's okay. It wasn't your fault.
I got goosebumps, bro.
And he turns his head back at me with that serious sergeant major type face. There's no more waterworks going on. He looks back at the wall, looks back at me, says, I'll be back. And he storms off. Well, he was there as part of the staff for this veterans memorial we were at. Now, he's 30 yards away from the wall. And I'd look up and I'd see him staring at his troops panel. And he would tell me, he keeps talking to me, Romans. He keeps talking to me. I said, well, you come back anytime. It's your time with your buddy. Your time with your troop. This is your wall. It's not mine. You come over here anytime you want to. And that's kind of the aura of this wall. It will pull you to it. If you've got a buddy, a troop, a loved one on this wall, and you're anywhere of one of our stops and you come to it, it's going to call you. It's going to talk to you. It's truly remarkable. I'm humbled, truly humbled to be the curator and to be privileged enough to be able to take this thing across the country and set it up so our brothers and sisters and their families, those Gold Star families, can come and view it.
I love that. So we recently had the Vietnam Traveling Wall with the Cost of Freedom Tribute, which is, every conflict since Vietnam has a name on it. And it was here in Shepherdsville for 7 days. It was set up for 7 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And to see the amount of people that came and frequented, that came every day. There were some people that came every day. And I was up there. See, Glenn was there. Ratman was there. He actually created a POW MIA tower that we had set up on the field as well. And just to see the people that showed up, and we had the Boy Scouts there, and they had the book, they had the book with all the names and where that was listed on what panel and everything. And you had people that had never been to DC to see the wall in DC come to the traveling wall, and just to see, as they're going up, they find the name, they step back, salute, do all the respect things. And I was in a golf cart, and I had noticed that there was a car in the parking lot that it pulled up, sat there for about 5 minutes. It pulled back out, then parked in another parking spot. And then it pulled out of that parking spot and pulled into another parking spot. And I was like, I'm gonna go over and see what's going on. So I rode over and I said, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Because I just wanted to make sure they were okay or whatever. He goes, I got some friends on that wall. I was like, okay, have you been up to the wall yet? He says, no. He said, I've been here 3 days in a row, and I can't get out of my car. And then he looked at me and he said, it's a long walk. And I didn't get it at first. I was like, well, I can give you a ride in a golf cart if that's something you need. He goes, no, He said, "It's just a long walk." And I understood what he meant when he said it the second time.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, he never got out of his car to go over there to see the wall. And like with yours, the Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance, we had the Cost of Freedom tribute with ours. So it had, like I said, Beirut, 9/11. It had all the planes. It had everything on there. My buddy Sam Deeds, who's a gunnery sergeant, medically retired from the Marine Corps. We went to boot camp together, served together in 2-8, and then we went our separate ways when I went to 1-8 and he went where he went. And he's got a lot of troops on there that he put in, and I'm like, and he came down from Florence, Kentucky, where he lives up in that area. And it's just, it's a humbling experience. And it's something that, I don't even going to comment on that. But I think bringing your wall of remembrance to Kentucky and setting it up as well, because what we're planning on doing with the Vietnam traveling wall. So there's two cities. You got Shepherdsville, you got Mount Washington. So this year we had it in Shepherdsville. 2 years we're going to have it in Mount Washington, and then 2 years after that we'll have it back in Shepherdsville. So that's the plan, is to go back and forth every 2 years. I think bringing in the Global War of Terror, I think that would be something we could fit in the middle, in between, So we're going to have to talk about that, because I think it's something that a lot of people around here, because there's not a lot of memorials out there for, veterans that have, Beirut. There's not a whole lot of memorials for the Beirut bombing. There's not a whole lot for 9/11, Afghanistan, Iraq, Global War on Terror. There's not a whole lot of, yeah, there's just not a whole lot of memorials for that.
Well, the thing to remember, and I'm not trying to turn on the waterworks or pull anybody's emotions, but it took me hearing myself say it about 3 times for it to hit me in the heart, instead of just, when we Marines, we get passionate about something, we get tunnel vision. Yes. And that's all we focus about. We don't focus on anything else. So hearing myself say this 3 times, Willis, we have a memorial.
Yeah.
This is our wall.
Yeah. And that's,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, you share that story with the traveling Vietnam wall in Marion, Illinois, this past summer. We had a gentleman drive 45 minutes down to it, and he was walking head down, kind of just looking out the side of his eye, and he saw Iraq on there. And he sped up, and he had his daughter in tow, and she's running to keep up with him. And he's just bawling, emotional. And one of our counterparts, he walked over to him and offered him a business card and a flyer. And he said, "Hey, we're here for the next 3 days. Come by 24/7." And he goes, "I live 45 minutes away. I don't know if I'll be back." And I'm like, "Okay, brother. Can I give you a hug?" I'm sorry. Mike gave him a hug. Mike said, "Can I give you a hug?" So Mike gives him a hug, and I'm like, "Okay, brother, don't worry about it. Just whenever you feel the need to, you feel free to come by and do what you got to do." And he walked back around with his daughter, and he says, "Hey, can you help me find a name?" I'm like, "Absolutely. That's what we're here for." So he starts looking at a name, and next thing you know, he starts seeing names. And I think I stopped counting when he got to 14.
Oh.
And he's on his knees, and he's looking at a name, and he's got his hand on this name. And Mike has now started helping this woman find a name. So Mike is over there, and he's on this panel, and she's on this next panel right to his right. And he looks up as she's rubbing a name, and he goes, "Well, how the hell do you know Joe?" And she looks down at him. She goes, "Well, how the hell do you know Joe?" He says, "Well, I served with him." And she says, "Well, that was my son." And you want to talk about, dude, not a dry eye, because this young man was able to tell this mother the last 2 weeks of her son's life and give her the closure that she's never had. They lived 30 minutes apart, 2 towns apart. and they became family right then and there. They sat there and talked and hugged and cried for about 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half. And all of us, we were all like putting our sunglasses on, like, yep, you know.
Yep.
But it was just truly amazing and moving for that to happen. That needed to happen right there, you know.
Yeah, just to, like you said, there is to see the people that showed up, and you know, there were some people that showed up to the wall that served together in Vietnam and hadn't seen each other since Vietnam, but they were here at the wall at the same time. You know, it was like that was meant to be, you know, and it's just like there's something about the memorials, especially the traveling memorials, that brings people that live in like Bullitt County that I live in. You know, there's, like I said, there's 3 major cities in Bullitt County. You got Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, and then you got Lebanon Junction, and they're all within, you know, 20 minutes of each other. But yeah, you might have somebody who served, you know, that lives in Shepherdsville, and then you got somebody over here that served in the same unit as he did, but they're, you know, and never run into each other. All right, Glenn, be careful, brother. And then
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate you.
so Glenn says Glenn is not a veteran, but he's an avid veteran supporter. He has 2 cars, the Pro 1, Pro 2, that are that when he goes to veteran events and stuff, he has veterans sign his car. He takes pictures, posts them online and stuff like that. Glenn is an amazing guy. Can't say much bad things about him. He's just all around good to go. But yeah, for the traveling walls like this, especially if you're the person that's responsible for bringing it in. Let's say I get with my mayor and say, hey, I want to bring in the Global War of Terror Wall of Remembrance, and then, you know, we bring you in, and then you see all of these people that you probably would have never met because you know, you're down in Alabama and we're up in Kentucky, and then you know, you get to share their stories along the way, and you get to hear their stories.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. You know, plus, you know, you do the Roman Warriors Foundation, which you guys, so you got the Global War Terror program, you got the Stop 22 tour, you got the Roman Warriors Foundation Warrior Field Ops, you got Hoosiers with Hearts Disaster Relief. So that's pretty much all your divisions that you have, and we haven't really. I mean, we've talked about them, but we've really just barely have scratched the surface. And I know when we did our meet and greet, we were like, we're gonna have to break this up into a couple different episodes, because I think there's a whole lot more here to Romans Warriors Foundation Label 22 than what we even have scratched the surface on. So I think your wife wants you. She's behind you.
Yeah, I think I might be in trouble or some type.
She was giving you the stink eye, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely
But
going
no, you're absolutely right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're definitely going to have you back on, because we barely even scratched the surface. So let's talk a little bit about the Warriors Field Ops. Let's talk about the little outdoor program that you guys have. Let's talk about that a little bit. So tell us
every time we have a wall set up, and we started doing this about 2 years ago, every time we try to have the wall set, or we have the wall set up, we try to get the host and or local veterans organizations, your VFWs, your American Legions, your Moose Lodges, to be able to come together, Marine Corps Leagues, to be able to come together and target. Give me 3 or 4 names. Give me 3 or 4 names, you know, and their families. If it's people with large families, give me 2 to 3 and their families, and bring them out. Whether it's right there in the parking lot of where we have the wall set up, or we're going to go, you know, 15 minutes down the road to a host family that's wanting to cook us dinner. Let's just have some fellowship, you know. And we primarily try to target a veteran and his or her family that may be struggling a little bit, whether it's within the marriage, whether it's financial, whether it's something with the children, or, you know, maybe some PTSD work or something. But we try to bring them in and focus on them primarily. You know, we did this out in Colorado. A buddy of ours that we serve with has a cattle farm, and he hosted the dinner. Him and his daughters hosted dinner. We had 4 veterans come out with us, and we just showed them love. That's all it was. We didn't ask them to talk. We didn't try to counsel them. It was just showing them love and fellowship. And hey, man, we are still here for you. Lean on us, kind of thing. And if they chose to do so, great. If they didn't, at least they know that we care about them and we're here if and when they want to reach out. Nice. And that's what we try to do at each location. Now, Gene Campbell, our guy based out of Colorado, we talked to him. He's one I talked out of a bass boat and threw in a kayak. And he has ran this thing. It was 2 45-minute conversations with him out there 3 or 4 years ago. And he's just ran with it across the nation. It's great. So much so that now we have sub chapters or sub ambassadors, if you will, in different cities that are wanting to pop up to be able to help Gene to host different venues. And nice. Most of the work is on the water. You get vets in a kayak with their daughter or their son or their spouse, and you see them fishing and catching a fish and reeling a fish in. I mean, that's something that I don't believe any other organization is doing. They're focusing solely on the vet, where we want to focus on the family. Because what we learned a while back, brother, is I sucked at it while I was in uniform about knowing and caring about the family. I cared about my troop. So one of the mainstays I tried changing when we started this whole program is focus on the family. Because I know I can't do what I do without my support system that peeked in the room a minute ago. And I know you can't do what you do without your support system there at home. Yeah. We have to have that. We have to build on that, because if I can teach that spouse, or my spouse can teach that spouse, and my teenagers can teach their kids how to handle the different triggers, the pressures, the emotional outbursts, so to speak, in a safe, close-knit environment, then that's going to make it that much better for that family to come together and support that veteran.
Yeah. And I love that you focus on the family, because there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of organizations out there that only focuses on the veteran. And what a lot of people don't realize is if you were married while you were in the military, that family served too. They didn't serve the same capacity as you, but they did serve, because, they're at home. Wife is at home, or spouse is at home taking care of the kids. But they're also, taking care of other families that are deployed as well. So other spouses and stuff. And they have a form of PTS. It's a little bit different, because let's say your wife, you're deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan. Your wife is at home wondering, hey, when am I going to get that phone call, or when am I going to go get that knock on that door? And kids are the same way. Kids are very intuitive. A lot of people don't give kids credit, but if mom or dad was deployed, and kids know, they know that there's a chance that mom or dad might not come home. Right. So I love that you guys are focusing on the family aspect of it, and I think that helps veterans heal. For one, it gives the spouse and children a little insight into what the veteran's dealing with. Because, like, for me, my wife and kids, for the longest time, didn't know what I did in the Marine Corps. They didn't know half the shit that I seen. Yeah. And a lot of it didn't start coming out until I started this podcast. And my wife would watch, and she would hear some of the stories that I would tell, because I'm more comfortable telling another veteran my story than the person that I love the most in this world. And I want to shelter, as a veteran, I want to shelter and protect the ones that I love the most. So I love the fact that you guys are focused on the family aspect of things. And because like you said, a lot of organizations out there won't focus on the families. So that's amazing, brother. That is, I love what you guys are doing. So
bottom line is my wife saved my life more times than she'll ever know. I mean, she truly has, and same with my kids. And I'll never admit that to them in the avenue or channels that cause that thought process. Right. Right. But they did. They got me through a lot of different things that I probably never should have been in. And I'm down a lot of rabbit holes that I allowed myself to follow down. And got to give credit where credit's due. You know, I mean, that's one of the things with leadership, right? Is if it's
Yes,
screwed
sir.
up, it's my fault. If it's successful, it's their fault. And they pulled me through all my mess. So by all means, we try to pay that forward and try to educate. Now, straightforward, true transparency. I don't have a degree in counseling. I'm not a medical therapist. I don't have any certifications on the wall, nor does my family. What we have is trial and tribulations of true real life successes and failures. And, you know, hey, this is what worked for me. This is what didn't work for me. It may work for you. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, cool. It's up to you if you want to try it, kind of thing.
Mm.
The one thing we have over, I think, and I'm going to sound conceited, over a lot of other organizations is I'm leading from here, not from here.
Yeah.
I'm out there trying to do what I can to be able to save lives because I got tired of burying my buddies from suicide. I got tired of hearing about so-and-so, you know, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? Yeah, his wife just had to bury him. What the hell? How come nobody said anything? Well, nobody knew.
Yeah.
You know, and when we first started, I was known to show up on doorsteps unannounced because I got letters or calls from spouses or parents. You know, I had a buddy, 20-year gunnery sergeant retiree. He sheltered in place for three months after retirement.
Mm.
Wouldn't go out of the house, wouldn't go get a job, wouldn't do nothing. And I did keg stands at his retirement with his mother. Again, this is a 20-year retired Marine, and I was doing keg stands with his 54-year-old mom. So she calls one day and she says, hey, so-and-so is not doing well. You think you could check on him? Sure. What's he not doing? And she laid it all out online. I said, all right. How about I go and check on him instead of calling? She goes, oh, no, you know, you're in Indiana. You don't have to do that. I said, no, flight's already booked. Well, how'd you do that? Well, I was on the phone with you.
Mm.
So I flew to North Carolina, and my wife picked me up. We were talking at the time. She picked me up, and I said, I got to stop at this house. We got stuff to do, and you don't want to be around when I do it. Just wait in the truck. And it was real serene because I knocked on the door. He answers the door, and he starts crying.
Mm.
He says, what the fuck are you doing here? And I said, I'm here for you. We can do this one of two ways, but you're going to want to invite me inside.
Mm.
He goes, I'm just still trying to figure out why you're here. I said his name. I said, you need to invite me in. You don't want me to do this on your porch, blasting you in your neighborhood. Said, come on. Yeah, come on in. So I go in the house. He closes the door. Barely does the door latch, and I'm just laying into him like he was a buck private. And again, I was only a staff sergeant. He retired a gunny, so it was really weird, that transition. But I'm laying into him, and as he pulls himself together, you know, he lets himself go, and then he pulls himself together. I look over my shoulder. There's his entire family at the dinner table.
Mm.
I'm like, hey, fam. And they just start doing this, you know, and I'm like, that's not what it's about. And his wife comes over and gives me a hug, and she goes, no, I've been trying to convey this. I didn't know how. You gave him tough love.
Mm.
I said, that's what mom asked me to do. And if you go off on mom, I'll come back.
Hell yeah.
Dude, within 24 hours, he had a job at Lowe's as their veteran employee. They started that veteran employee program. He had a job at Lowe's and was flourishing. I mean, a contributing member of society again, the whole 9 yards. So I'm not saying we're efficient or effective, but that's a success story that worked for us, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes that's what you got to do. Unfortunately, us veterans, we're very stubborn. And sometimes you have to lay the law down and tell them, hey, this is what's wrong right now. This is what's wrong. And you know, one of the things that we say here on HomeFront Sitrep is ask that next hard question. Because I can go up to Brian and say, hey, Brian, how you doing? You're going to look at me. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm living the dream, knowing damn well that you're tore up inside.
Oh yeah.
But then that's where me, as a concerned friend, say, hey, Brian, how are you really doing?
Right.
And then you got to be ready for that conversation. It could be a 15-minute conversation, could be a 3-hour conversation, but you have to be ready for that conversation. If you're going to ask that next hard question, you have to be ready. So, no.
Well, I love it when people tell me they're fine, because I look back at them and said, okay, you know, fine's an acronym, effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So are you good or are you fine?
Right. And then my brother reached out to me the other day. Now my brother's not a veteran, but his dad was a veteran. His dad my stepdad. So this is Dustin's my stepbrother, and he's got this new thing. He wants to be someone's stranger. And what's key about that, and it really, when he told me about it, I sat there and I thought about it. And I was like, huh, I really like that because, like I stated earlier, I'm not going to talk to somebody that I want to protect, but I can be someone's stranger. So I can find a veteran out there that's dealing with shit, and I say, hey, let me be your stranger. Come talk to me. Tell me what's going on.
Mhm.
So that's something new that we're going to start pushing is hashtag be someone's stranger, because I'm more apt to talk to somebody that's a stranger than I am somebody who lives in my house
Yep.
that sees me on a day-to-day basis. So hashtag be someone's stranger. That's something that we're going to start pushing out there because I think it needs to be out there. I think it's going to help end. Well, I can't say end because it's going to take a shitload to end the 22 a day, which we
It'll
know.
impact.
Yeah, it'll impact it. Yeah, because we know 22 a day's skewed because
Oh
of
yeah.
it's more like 44 a day, probably if not more. Um, but I think it will impact it. And you got to hashtag be someone stranger. Reach out to somebody that you might not know personally. Or maybe you know them, you know, through veteran events that you've been at. Reach out to them. Just say, hey, how you doing? Be someone stranger. Let them talk to you because they're not going to talk to the ones that they love the most. So if you're at a veteran event and you get Joe's phone number, reach out to him. You don't have to reach out to him every day, but reach out to him once a week, twice a week. If they're struggling, reach out more because they're going to need that help. So yeah, definitely. So, but
I like that.
no, man, I love what you guys are doing with Romans Warriors Foundation, Label 22, the Global War uh, on Terror Remembrance Wall. Um, Being you talked on the meet and greet, I'm going to talk to my two mayors here, Shepherdsville and Mount Washington. I'm going to see if I can get you guys to come into Kentucky uh, in conjunction with the Vietnam traveling wall or the years in between. So I'm gonna work on that and see if we can set up some dates to get that happen because I think it's something that needs to be out there. So we'll see. But
Our goal is to get this memorial in front of as many Gold Star communities as possible because Mike Gasper said it best in Marion, Illinois. Every day is Memorial Day for a Gold Star family.
So have you ever heard of Herschel Woody Williams Foundation?
Yes, sir. Sure have.
All right, so I know I knew Herschel, I knew Woody, and I'm friends with his grandson Brent. I'm going to get you connected with them because when they do the 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 memorial unveiling, I think it would be cool to have your wall there when they do
Yeah,
the unveiling. I think that would be cool. So I'm going to get you in contact with Brent and see if we can work something out there with
right.
your organization and Herschel Woody Williams Foundation. I think that would be pretty neat. So we're going to see what we can do about that.
That'd be great.
But is there anything that you want to touch on before I let you go back to your wife and kids and your many other hats that you wear?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is, just reinstating, that helping is healing. And, we are our brother's keeper. The reason why we said we are our brother's keeper is because that encompasses brothers and sisters. It's not, if we need to spell it out, we'll spell it out, but we are our brothers, sisters, keepers. Again, not above, not below, always beside you. We'll walk through whatever fires and whatever walls we have to. Don't let the obstacles in your life stop you from what you want to do in your passion. There's always numerous ways to overcome an obstacle. You either go around it, go under it, go over it, and my personal favorite is blast right through it. Be able to get the mission done.
So I put all your information up on the screen right now. It's got your address, it's got your phone number, it's got your email address, it's got your Candid Guide Star profile link right there. If you're out there, you're watching this, whether you're watching it live right now, whether you're going to catch it later, or you're going to catch it on one of the other platforms that we're on, the link is right there on the screen. You can call Brian at 910.376.2971, or you can email him at bromans@romanswarriorfoundation.org. That's how you can get in contact with Brian. And then what's going on, Mr. Derek? How are you, sir? He says we always push through. Love it, brother.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if you want to get in contact with Brian Romans, that's the contact information there. If you're a veteran and you're thinking about gigging music, playing music, reach out to Brian. He's got Label 22. They help veterans get started in the music business, and
Yep.
they help foster you along the way. I guess foster is the right word.
Foster, mentor, guide.
Mentor, yeah. So reach out to him if you're an aspiring singer, songwriter. Reach out to him at Label 22 Records. You can also go. I put the link to Label 22 Records up there. Brian, he says, Derek says,
I
I
need
need
you.
you in my life. He just described me. There you go. His emails bromans@romanswarriorsfoundation.org. Reach out
Yep.
to him, Derek.
Get in contact. If you're going to call, text first, and then
Yeah, his phone number is there too.
Yep.
You should be
text
able
is
to
the best way.
Yeah, definitely. So, but Brian, it's a pleasure to talk to you again, my friend. I got your phone number. I think you got my phone number.
Yes,
If
sir.
not, we will make that happen. But it was a pleasure, my friend. Semper Fi, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate everybody. Semper Fi, brothers.
See you, bub.
Sisters.
Man, that was super, super cool. So like I said, romanswarriorsfoundation.org is the website. And then Label 22. So it's label22records.com. You can go there. You can check out both of what Brian and his team is doing there with Romans Warriors Foundation, and what was the number. So I'm gonna put it up on the screen right now for you. It is 910.376.2971. That's his phone number right there for you, Derek. But yeah, give them a check. If you go on the website, romanswarriorsfoundation.org, scroll all the way down to the bottom. It's got all the contact information there. And one thing, one thing I didn't ask is about donations. I think you can donate on the website as well. Yeah, there's a link for donate. There's a QR code. You can do Square, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. So that's how you can donate. Hey, anytime, Derek, anytime, my friend. So yeah, guys, check out romanswarriorsfoundation.org, label22records.com. I believe it's a .com. Yeah, label22records.com. Especially if you're an aspiring veteran singer songwriter, reach out to them, man. They will definitely take care of you. Brian Romans is an amazing. He's a jack of all trades and a master of none. He wears several hats. Like he said, he's got about 30 minutes a day to himself. But other than that, he's out helping veterans or helping people in need. He's volunteers at 3 different fire departments. Amazing guy. So definitely check him out. Tomorrow we got Miss Kim Carter. She is, I believe she was Army. She was an Army retiree. She retired from the Army. She now, Kim Carter can draw from her personal experiences in the military to provide firsthand insights into challenges that veterans face when transitioning to civilian life. In her role at Propel Work, Kimberly likely has a deep understanding of workforce development and the needs of veterans in today's job market. So we will have Miss Kimberly Carter on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you tune in for that. And I will see you guys later. But I'm gonna play a couple videos real quick before we jet out of here. If you're a veteran in need, if you're in crisis, 988 star one. You can text them, you can call them, you can go online and chat with them on online. If you don't like the person you're talking with, you can hang up, disconnect, reconnect, and you get somebody different. And then look what everything that is written on this board when I play this commercial here, because I guarantee if you're a veteran, you've said everything that is on this board. Even though you're tore up inside, you've said everything that's on this board. Because I know I've said everything that's on that board, and I guarantee you have. If you're a veteran and you're in need, 988 star one. If you're a family member of a veteran, 988. Call 988. They will talk with you as well. And then, if you're a veteran and you are in the process of filing your VA disability, or you have questions, or you want a second opinion, Homefront Sitrep has a segment called hashtag Ask Monica. Monica Sanford, Sanford. She is a nurse practitioner down in Florida. She's been married to a lieutenant colonel, retired United States Marine Corps for 35 plus years. She helps veterans with their disability claims. That's what she does. She's an amazing woman. So I'll play that. You can get in contact with her at askmonica0@gmail.com. So yeah, you can reach out to her at askmonica0@gmail.com. And then, like I said earlier today, or earlier when we were on the show, Homefront Sitrep is a proud partner with Reese Across America Radio. You can find us live. Let's see. I need to go up here. Yeah, here, right here. Just scrolling across the bottom of the screen. ReachAcrossAmericaRadio.org/radio. Thursday nights at 11 p.m. You can find it on iTunes, Audacity app, and iHeartRadio, or TuneIn. TuneIn instead of TuneIn Radio instead of iTunes. TuneIn Radio, Audacity, or iHeartRadio. You can go to reachacrossamerica.org/radio. And then, like I said, hashtag be someone stranger, man. Be someone stranger. And what I mean by that, we're more apt to talk to somebody who is not the ones that we love the most. Somebody else is also going to be the same way. They're going to talk to you before they talk to somebody they love the most. So hashtag be someone stranger. All right, I got one more. So let's play this Reach Across America promo. Hey, it's Willis. Join Candace and I from Homefront Sitrep on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern on Reese Across America Radio. You can find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Audacity app, and TuneIn app. Search the word Reese. Yeah, so check us out on Reese Across America Radio. Make sure you go like and follow them. Reach Across America Radio on Facebook. Go to their website, link the live link that I just put up there, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. But like we always say on Homefront Sitrep, stay safe out there. We got your six. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your 6.